hence our factors now are going to be x minus 3 and 3x plus 1 less than or equal to 0. And our roots then are going to be positive 3 and negative 1/3 here. So now that we have our zeros here of 3 and negative 1/3, we can go ahead and sketch it. So going down the page we got. Now in this case we have a less than or equal to inequality. So that means it is including our zeros here. So we can use filled dots now at negative 1/3 and positive 3. So positive 3 we have our filled dot, and negative 1/3 another filled dot. So going ahead to sketch the graph, we did have an x-intercept here at negative 3. So I believe our vertex is probably going to be below here. So we're going to come up something like this. It's a bit of a rough sketch, but kind of get an idea of what the graph is going to look like. So next we need to write the solution to satisfy the inequality. Well, our inequality here was 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 less than or equal to 0. So since we're less than or equal to 0, we want to know when it's below the x-axis. So looking at our graph right there, we can see that it's below the x-axis in between our roots here. So hence our solution is going to be when x is greater than or equal to 1/3 and less than or equal to positive 3. But we're not quite finished. Remember, we have to check our solution by testing points. So looking at our graph here, we can see that our 3 regions we're going to test are going to be over here when it's less than 1/3, when it's in between our negative 1/3 and 3, and when it's going to be greater than 3. So let's go ahead and work through that. So just to make a note, we need to use the original inequality in this case when we're checking, because we could have potentially made an error when we put it all to one side of the inequality, so we have to use the original, which in this case was negative 8x less than or equal to negative 3 onto x squared minus 1. So first region was when x is less than or equal to negative 1/3. So in this case, let's just use x equaling negative 1. We get negative 8 times negative 1 less than or equal to negative 3 times negative 1 squared minus 1. Solving, we're going to get 8 less than or equal to, well, this actually comes out to 0, which is not true. So that's no, that region is no good, which we wanted it to be. Our next region we're going to use is when it's in between our 2 points here. And we like to use when x equals 0 when we're checking. So we get 8 times 0 less than or equal to negative 3, 0 squared minus 1. Well, in this case, we get 0 is less than or equal to positive 3, which is correct and hence good solution. Now, our last region to check is when it's greater than or equal to 3. So let's just use x equaling 4 in this case. We get negative 8 times 4 less than or equal to negative 3, 4 squared minus 1. Here we're going to get negative 32 is less than or equal to negative 45, which is also incorrect. So by checking, we did verify that the solution we found of x being in between negative 1/3 and 3 as correct. Awesome. Good work today.